After all, A and B both came from the same place, P. If you trace the history of both timelines, you'd end up back at Incident P. Now, if I could change what happened with Incident P by visiting timeline A or B, then yes, it'd be a different story. I don't know that it'd be unfair per se, but I'd certainly be breaking some pretty big rules. Like, you know, the principle of causality. I'm sure that Dio killed the old woman. By extension, that means you couldn't have killed her. I'm assuming Dio wasn't originally intended to be part of the Nonary game. Somehow he got in and took the old woman's place. That's how he ended up as Quark's partner. This is just an educated guess, but I have a feeling his plan was to replace one of us. I doubt it mattered which one. I have no idea why he would want to do something like that, and I don't know how he did it either. But the fact remains that he did. He hid in the warehouse on floor A and waited for someone to come out of one of the AB rooms. That someone turned out to be the old woman. She left Quark asleep in the AB room and came out on her own. Somehow he managed to get close enough to stab her. Yeah, why would you want to do that? He did it near the wall with the graffiti on it. I'm guessing he stabbed her from behind so that he wouldn't get any blood on himself. As soon as she was dead, he wrapped the knife up in the handkerchief. No, wait, actually, he probably took the bracelet first. Then he would have needed to wipe the blood off, so he used the handkerchief for that too. Anyway, the point is he got the bracelet and put it on. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the rightmost AB room and its neighbour. He probably didn't expect that they'd move, or he would have put it somewhere else. Yeah. After that, he headed back into the AB room that the woman had left. Quark would have still been fast asleep, so as far as he knew, Dio was there the whole time. This does raise a few other questions, but I'll save those for later. For now, let's move on to the other murders. Well, actually, one of them probably isn't a murder.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about Alice. I'm pretty sure she committed suicide. Yep.
Half of humanity is going to die. Adults, children, everyone. There won't be anyone left. I'd rather die here.
She did have Radical 6, but it's not something you give to someone, as far as I'm aware. She'd been infected with Radical 6. I think that infection caused her to take her own life. She used Dio's knife, which she'd found in the warehouse after the AB room moved, and exposed it. She took it with her and then used it to stab herself in the crew quarters. Next are Clover and Temiuji. The first question is, who put the handcuffs on them? The clue is the message Clover left, 016. If you think about it though, It doesn't make sense. Clover's left hand was in the handcuffs. That means she would have had to write with her right hand on her right thigh. I feel like it would be really hard to do that, you know? Why not just use your left thigh? The thing is, I think she did. When she died, her legs slumped together and the message got transferred to the right thigh. We just never saw the original because we didn't bother to check the other leg. In other words, she wasn't trying to write 016. She was trying to write Dio. With her dying breath, she was trying to tell us the name of her killer. Now, about Kay and Dio. I think there's a pretty good chance Dio killed Kay. Here's how I imagine it happened. Kay probably sprayed Dio's bracelet with the luminol. We found the bottle in Kay's robe. He wouldn't have seen the reaction immediately, but Dio would have known what was coming. As soon as Kay turned the lights off, it would be clear that Dio had taken the old woman's bracelet. My guess is he decided to take preemptive action. When we found their bodies, the lights in the rec room were on. Maybe Kay turned to switch the lights off and Dio took that opportunity to attack him. Kay was hurt pretty badly, but he didn't die right away. He probably managed to grab the spear and stab Dio. We did consider this when it first happened. We thought it could be a possibility. Then he died. So that accounts for all 6 bodies. None of them your fault.
Sigma, I'm glad you don't think I did it, but all of your theories are just, well, theories.
Yep.
Like Alice committing suicide. How can you be sure? Say she was infected with Radical 6. She could have been murdered before her symptoms even began to present themselves. As for Clover and Tenmyoji, I could easily have killed them. You don't have any proof that Clover's message was mirrored like you say, or even that it was supposed to refer to Dio. Even if it did, that's not conclusive evidence of his guilt. The same goes for Kay and Dio. I could have killed them both. Why do you trust me so much? I'm a machine. I'm part of this place. How can you trust a machine?
That's why I trust you.
What?
I trust you because you're a robot. Your robotness is just one more reason you can't be the killer. Well, 3 more reasons. The laws of robotics.
Have you ever heard of the 3 laws of robotics? A robot without the... Sigma.
Luna, I have to ask you. Can you tell me, well, everything you know? Your mind is in the central server. You should know everything that's happened here. There was a long pause. Luna stood up and walked deeper into the garden. I followed her in silence. Eventually, we reached the bench. Luna quietly sat down and just like last time, I lowered myself down beside her.
You were right. I didn't kill them. How should I explain? Well, actually, you got most of it right.
That doesn't matter. Tell me everything.
Well, first, yes, Dio did sneak into the facility. He used the large cargo elevator and came into the warehouse on floor A through the number 9 door. Since the game hadn't started yet, anyone could go through it.
Okay. That doesn't really sound like sneaking. It sounds more like he just walked in.
Yes, I guess you could say that. He did get in pretty easily. But that's because Zero Jr. lured him here.
Okay. What do you mean?
Dio wasn't a surprise. Both Zeros knew that he was going to come.
So they brought him here?
In a way.
But why?
Because his presence was an important part of Zero's project.
What project?
I can't go into that right now. We'd be here forever.
Is this where the old lady offered her life for Kay's dad's research?
Right now, let's just focus on the murders, okay? Anyway, Dio found his way in. They made sure he didn't know that he was actually being let in.
So why did he come here?
To make sure Zero's project failed. His first step was to pretend to be one of the players. As for how he did that, you had it pretty much right. The old woman was the first one out, and he killed her under the graffiti.
If my theory is right, she didn't need to do the puzzle to leave. She was one of the people running this game, were helping run this game. And this was her sacrifice for the research. Her death.
He put a bracelet on after he wiped the blood off it with the handkerchief. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the 5th and 6th AB rooms.
It also makes sense if Kay's grown up in this facility, then he has no idea what the condition of the world is outside. Therefore, for him it may not have been that long. 5th and 6th?
Counting from the left in their original placement.
In other words, the rightmost room would be the 6th room, and the one next to it would be the 5th.
Right. After that, he went back into the 5th AB room where Quark was sleeping. Then he just waited for Quark to wake up.
What were you doing while that was happening?
Nothing. I couldn't do anything. My body had been turned off. Zero Jr. had powered me down. My body wasn't activated until after Dio went into the 5th room. I couldn't help her. All I could do was watch while she was murdered. Everything in this place is controlled by Zero Jr.
And that explains why she didn't interfere, because of the 3 laws of robotics.
I couldn't try and prevent Dio from getting in either.
Wait, if Zero Jr. controls everything, then he was the one who moved the 6th room with the crane.
Yes, that's right. Zero Jr. moved the room, not me.
Then who moved the old woman?
Me.
Oh,
It took me 10 minutes to get out of my AB room once I was turned back on.
and that's why she was found in Luna's room.
I ran over to check on her as soon as I did. Then I carried her back to the room I'd been in,
Why did you do that?
because I was ordered to.
Yeah. What?
Luna, listen to me very carefully.
Ordered by her.
As you already know, the final stage of the project begins in 2 hours. This will be the culmination of many years of hard work. We cannot afford failure.
Yes, I understand.
Then let's make sure. What is your mission?
Enter the Nonary Game as one of the participants and observe the actions of the other players. Ensure that they do what they are supposed to and guide them down the correct paths.
How many players will there be?
Myself and 7 others, ma'am.
And her being one of the...
Will you be participating as well?
Yes, our plan dictates that I must. An individual by the name of Dio will be entering this facility presently. He has been led to believe he is doing so undetected. You've been briefed on him already, correct?
Yes. He will murder the first person to leave one of the AB rooms and take their place. If a pair is the first out, he'll probably kill both of them. That's all the information I've been given on him, ma'am.
Is there a problem?
With all due respect, ma'am, I would like to state that I don't feel right about this. We know someone is going to be killed, and we're just going to let it happen? I also have doubts about the use of Radical 6. Are you sure? Infecting all these people with such a horrible disease.
All these people?
That is none of your concern. Your only concern is to follow your orders.
But...
Luna, I am giving you an order. I am in command, and you do as I say. You are programmed to do as I say. You know this.
Yes.
Good. Now, I have one final order.
Another order, ma'am?
Yes. When you leave the AB room, the person Dio has killed will still be there. I would like you to move them.
Where?
To the room you are about to enter, the 6th AB room.
But why?
Not your concern.
So... that also means, I'm thinking, Zero Jr. was programmed to move that AB room after... well, before she was found and after they all left it.
As a participant in the game, you must have as little knowledge of it as possible. That is why I have made sure you are unable to access any classified data. There are things you must not know. In order for this project to succeed, we need you to be as close to a clean slate as possible. There are some things you already know, which ideally you would not. Unfortunately, this is unavoidable, so you must refrain from divulging anything you know about the project to the other participants. You must never tell anyone what you know about Dio, or the body, or that you carried it to the 6th AB room.
But she's telling us now.
You will have to pretend you know nothing more than the rest of the participants.
Is that an order?
Yes. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. After that, I went into the AB room as I'd been told to. As soon as I stepped inside, my body deactivated.
That could be why she's able to tell us now.
But since my brain is in the main computer, I was still awake, so I still saw everything. While I waited, I used the security cameras to see what was going on in the rest of the facility.
And you saw the old woman being murdered.
Yes, it was hard. What I was seeing made no sense. Several of my higher level processes nearly failed. To think that she would be the first person to come out.
It was planned.
I think she knew that Dio was going to kill her.
Yep.
When she'd said she had one final order for me,
Yep.
I didn't understand what she meant.
She knew she was gonna... From back then, she was already planning to be the first person to leave a room.
Like a fool, I told her I didn't approve, when I had no idea what she was prepared to do. When she died, whatever I have that passes for a heart felt like it snapped in two.
I think I understand. Everything you did because you'd been ordered to.
Yes.
And it was the old woman who gave you those orders. Then is she Zero Senior?
No.
What? Because if she gave you the orders,
She did, but she wasn't the only person I took orders from.
there was someone else?
Yes.
And that person is Zero Senior?
Yes. They worked together to develop the project she mentioned. So I suppose technically my orders came from both of them. And they were both controlling Zero Junior too.
I'm thinking Kay's parents are... Well, Kay's dad is Zero Senior. And the old lady is the lady that Kay came to look at as his mum.
I told you before that Zero Junior moved the 6th AB room. Although that's strictly true, he didn't do it of his own free will.
Yep,
They ordered him to do it.
yep, I thought so.
He was following orders just like me.
And that order was to cover Luna's tracks. But why?
I don't know. I really don't. Maybe they did it so that people wouldn't suspect me.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. If they didn't want people to suspect you, then why have you moved the body in the first place? Eventually we'd figure out that the rooms had been moved and that she was in your room.
Then maybe they wanted the opposite.
You mean...
Maybe they wanted you to suspect me.
That doesn't make sense either. If they wanted people to suspect you, why move the room?
You're right. Then maybe they only wanted certain people to be suspicious of me.
You mean like Alice?
Yes. Perhaps they wanted Alice to find the handkerchief and the knife. That would explain why they moved the room.
So they somehow knew Dio would hide the knife there.
Yes, I think so.
But how could they know that? I reckon if he hid it somewhere else, they would have just moved more rooms.
Well, whatever the reasons were, Alice did notice that the room was moved. Which meant that Clover also figured it out.
Yep.
And just like you said, Alice used the knife to take her life.
Yep.
Clover didn't realize that, though.
Yeah.
Or perhaps she didn't want to. In any event, she decided that I must have killed Alice to keep her quiet.
Yep.
So she confronted me. It was right after the second round of the AB game. Using Phi's timetable, that would be 0 hours, 0 minutes.
We did suspect that. She knows about Phi's timetable. A timeline. Well, she said timetable there, so... Yeah. Well, as I said, if he didn't drop it between those doors, those rooms, and dropped it between different rooms, maybe they just would have moved more rooms. Who knows? Wait, you were listening to us in the security office?
Yes. That wasn't all I was listening to, though. I know everything that happened in the facility after my body collapsed.
You were watching through the security cameras.
Yes, I was. I could see and hear everything. Anyway, we're at 0 hours, 0 minutes. I was in the hallway on floor A when Clover found me and took me to room 2 in the crew quarters. We entered at about 0 hours, 1 minute. She was very forceful.
Yep.
I know you killed Alice. Tell me the truth and I'll let you live. Now fess up! I'm only gonna give you one chance.
Luna was ordered to keep the truth secret, so she couldn't say that Alice committed suicide.
If you lie or try to play dumb or something, I'll kill you right in front of her!
I told her the truth, of course. I explained that I hadn't killed Alice, that she'd been infected with Radical 6, and it had caused her to kill herself. Clover was never going to believe that, though.
Ah,
We argued about it for nearly 9 minutes.
so she did say it.
It wasn't just Alice she asked me about. She asked me about the murder of the old woman, and about the AB room being moved. She wasn't very nice about it, but I couldn't answer any of her questions.
Yep. Because of your orders.
Yes. Then, at about 0 hours, 10 minutes, she must have run out of patience. She stuck her hand in her pocket and started moving toward me. She backed me up against the wall and pulled her hand out of her pocket. She was holding the injection gun. I tried to take it away from her. I even screamed for help. She refused to let go, of course, while we were fighting over it.
Got you in the neck. Hold on a minute. The trigger got pulled in the fight. I get that part. What I don't understand is why it did anything to you.
You mean because I'm a golem?
Yeah.
One of my orders was always to act like I was one of the players. A human.
Even if killed.
Any human injected with that amount of tubocurarine would die.
Yep. That's why you, died. To keep up the facade that you were human.
No.
No?
I collapsed because Zero Jr. turned off the
Ah.
power to my body again.
Yeah, I was thinking that one as well.
He probably felt he had to.
Yep.
Maintaining the illusion that I was human was probably in his orders, too. So to make it look like I had died, he turned the power off.
Yep.
Whatever the case, it was an accident. I don't think Clover ever intended to actually kill me.
Yeah, I'm not sure she did either.
She only took
As-
the injection gun to try and threaten me.
As angry as she was, I can't see Clover being a murderer. Yeah, all the planning they've done for Dio not to drop the knife in the right spot. Yeah. True, the 999 axe ending does differ, does make my thought not work. How can you be sure?
When I collapsed, she looked terrified. She checked for my pulse and listened to see if I was breathing. She also shook my body and called out to me several times. If she'd meant to kill me, why do all that?
Yeah.
After a few moments, she ran off to the infirmary to get the AED.
You mean the defibrillator?
Yes,
I don't usually have problems saying that word. That uses an electric shock to restart the heart, right?
correct.
So that was why she left.
Yes.
At 0 hours 11 minutes 40 seconds, Clover left the cabin in the crew quarters.
She ran off toward the infirmary. On the way, she bumped into Dio.
Dio?
Yes. I guess she just saw him, really. They didn't talk. She just ran past.
And he just watched her go by?
Yes. I imagine he was curious, of course. He probably wondered what she was doing. But he chose not to go after her. He had something else to do.
At 0 hours 12 minutes, Dio enters the room.
He seemed pretty surprised to find my body.
Yeah, I bet.
It didn't take him long to get over it, though.
Wouldn't imagine it would. What did he do then?
He'd gone there for 2 reasons. One was to get Alice's bracelet, which was a blue solo.
And 2 was to get his knife back? Right. Without it, Dio and Kay and Yellow Pair wouldn't be able to go through the secondary door. Right?
Yeah, but he couldn't find it.
Of course. Fire had already taken it by then.
Yes. But there was something else he wanted to do, too.